renewable electricity standards. We changed the policies. It's not that the sun got brighter all of a sudden. It's that we finally had the bonus on wind. There were 25,000 megawatts in 2008. At the conclusion of 2018, just 10 years later, we were up to nearly 100,000. Didn't get windier, but the tax incentives changed, the regulatory process changed. On all electric vehicles, this is a staggering number. 2,000 total all-electric vehicles in the United States in 2008. By the end of 2018, we're up to 1 million, and we're going to sell between 300,000 and 400,000 this year. So there's a Moore's law in each one of these areas. And there's a Moore's law in storage as well. Storage is getting better and better and better. And wind and solar plus storage means that there is an existential threat to the business plan of the co-firms and ExxonMobil. And my own belief is that we're going to be making these breakthroughs year after year until by the time we reach 2030, we will have a storage capacity that revolutionizes how electricity is consumed here in Framingham, but in every other city and town across our country, and ultimately across the world, because that's the kind of technology that we want to have sold or given to countries that need it across the planet. So I'm a technological optimist. I saw it with cell phones. I saw it with broadband. I've been seeing it with wind and solar and all electric vehicles. And we're going to see it with storage as well. And that's what is the scariest thing that causes nightmares to these fossil fuel executives. That's what causes them to toss and turn all night long. Because they know that it's over. And it could happen very quickly. And all we will have is stranded fossil fuel assets that the Securities Exchange Commission will be filing complaints that they're not accurately reported how much of their great wealth will never be realized. So storage, from my perspective, is the next frontier. But like the Impossible Burger, it's going to happen. And it's going to happen fast because young people are on the same way we are on the digital.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. Storage is key to how this works. And my husband grew up in very rural Colorado. And when we go back there, it is wind farm after wind farm. Like, how do we store that so that we can get it on demand? And it's going to be investment. And this is where the federal government has to come and help create the incentives for the capital market so that we are investing in the research, in the technology. It's critical, as is carbon capture. We are not going to get to where we need to be unless we have the technology for the carbon capture. We have to develop that. So all of this is part of the Green New Deal. All of this is part of this revolution and creating the urgency and putting the investment into this innovation so that we are taking it out of the laboratory into the marketplace and creating the jobs in the green economy that is inclusive and meanwhile saving the planet. Thank you. Thank you for raising that.
And if I may, Congresswoman, I'd just like to add one more thought. About 5 weeks ago, I went down to Brayton Point, which is in Somerset, which had coal burning plants down there for 2 generations. And those plants are now shut down. And what they're building on that location is the staging area for receiving the wind that was going to be coming off of our coastline until an oil lobbyist who is the Secretary of Interior killed that project. 800 megawatts, bigger than the Pilgrim nuclear power plant, just 2 weeks ago. And accompanying that, they're building a huge battery storage capacity. That's their plan, to marry wind with the storage capacity, and it's our state that's leading. And that's what is frightening to the Trump administration. That's what's frightening to the Koch brothers, because they want us to consume more oil and natural gas, and we want to consume God's natural gifts to us, because we know that the answer is not in the bottom of a mine, but it's in the solar and wind of our planet. And so just in our own state, and you can just Google this and read about it, incredible project down at Green Point to replace the coal with these modern technologies. Yes.
Hello, is this okay? Hi, I'm Reed, I'm from Natick. Apparently I missed a memo. I was supposed to bring clipboards and petitions, but I'm not here with an agenda, I'm here with a question. I was maybe asking for some advice for people who are running for office. I was wondering whether it's better to, as a person holding political office, whether it's better to hold to your convictions from what you originally learned as policy, to promises, or is it better to have a more open mind and learn things as you go and be adaptive in the new world?
Well, that is sort of the quintessential question of politics, but I think that you can do both. And for me, it's you never surrender those values that you hold, but you have to be open to learning new things. Every day I am exposed to experts in their fields that have knowledge on any piece of this environment, of climate change and technology that I can't begin to match or truly understand. So you have to be open to that, but remain true to those values, why you ran for office, the values of the communities you represent. And I think if you keep your values, but remain open to change, remain open to new information, remain curious, that's how we can represent our communities the best. That's how representative democracy works at its finest.
And I couldn't have said it any more eloquently than said it. So we hope to get into the political process, and we're looking forward to your leadership of your generation. Back over here. Yes, sir.
Richard Robinson, I run a small organic vegetable farm in Sherwood. I think it's not a surprise to you that photosynthesis is the most effective carbon sequestration technology on the planet. And that storage of carbon in the soil not only is good for the atmosphere, it's good for agriculture. And I'm wondering what policies are available to you for promoting farmers across the country to store more carbon in their soils, improve their farms at the same time.
Well, we built it into the Markey bill, but interestingly, the leadership of the House and Senate Agriculture Committees, led by Debbie Stabenow in the Senate, they actually are now putting in place policies which move farming in that direction. And it's not as far as we should be going, but for me, it's tremendous change in the attitudes about these issues, but it is already happening in the process over the last year in Congress.
Just to echo that is definitely an issue that is being talked about, debated. The Agriculture Committee recently did a tour of farms in the Midwest that are working on this. So it is real. We know that it is a great way to help clean our air, and we know that reforestation is also a critical piece of what we need to do. We have to take the very high-tech solutions and the natural low-tech solutions that we know can be so effective, and really it's across the spectrum. But thank you for your work in Sherwood.
Thank you for being a leader. So we started about 15 minutes late. So what we'll do is we'll take 10 more minutes of questions, and then we'll be glad to stick around and chat with you if you would like. So we'll try to give answers that are briefer and try to get to as many people as we can. So yes, ma'am.
Thank you for being with us here tonight. My name is Cece Doucette from Ashland, and I wanted to thank you both for the work that you're doing to try and protect our planet. As we put those plans forth, and we all love our technology, there's no question about that, but we also need to swing back and see what we can do towards safe and sustainable technology. Senator Markey, you mentioned that you helped to pass that Telecom Act in 1996, and there is one section of that, 704, which tells us that if there are any environmental concerns with the cell towers, we have no recourse. And as you may know, on November 1st, our own government, the U.S. National Toxicology Program, published their $30 million study hoping to prove that cell phone technology was safe. They've been doing this study for 20 years, and instead they found clear evidence, that's the highest categorization, clear evidence that radio frequency radiation causes DNA damage and cancers. Right on the heels of that, Italy's Ramazzini Institute published another large study that corroborated what we found here in the US. Other studies throughout the world, peer-reviewed, published scientific literature, links this also to our skyrocketing rates of autism, Alzheimer's, infertility, and is perhaps the reason why so many of us don't sleep well anymore, have headaches our doctors can't account for, because this is a pulsed microwave radiation that all wireless technology uses. So I wanted to be sure you're aware that there's a wonderful resource from the National Institute for Science, Law, and Public Policy out of Washington, D.C. that outlines these issues for us, and every community should be examining this. Brussels has already put a moratorium on 5G because we don't need more wireless infrastructure. We should be focusing on bringing hardwired technology to the premises, and then we can hook up inside through Ethernet cables, which actually give you a much faster connection than anything wireless will ever give us. So my ask of you today is, I know that your colleague DeFazio on transportation, Senator Blumenthal, Anna Eshoo, and others are already on this issue in DC, and we would like to see you work on Section 704 of the Telecom Act so that we can legally address the health and environmental impacts of wireless technology.
And I think it's a very important issue. I'm glad that you're raising it. I actually commissioned a study by the National Cancer Institute 20 years ago, 15 years ago, on the impact of wireless technologies in terms of creating cancers. What they concluded at that time was that while it didn't actually cause them, it could actually accelerate because of the RF, the radio frequency, near the brain, the speed with which an underlying already pre-existing condition would accelerate. So it's a very important study. I think we would both like to see it and to act on it, and we thank you so much for bringing it to our attention. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Very important. Thank you. Right over here.
Hello.
We're down to 5 minutes left to go. Yes.
Dr. Gene Fry from Brookfield. Last time Earth had this much CO2 in the air was 14 million years ago. Kansas is hot as Las Vegas now, and Florida was mostly underwater. The climate feedbacks that threaten to make this happen again are still in their pretty early stages. Talk to us some more, following up what you said to the gentleman 5 minutes ago, about methods and payment plans for taking CO2 out of the air. You might address things that, besides putting the soil in trees, whether it's biochar, especially accelerated rock weathering, ocean fertilization, and direct air capture, and how payments for those might be happening, and where we might come up with the money to do that.
Excellent question. Again, we'll begin with photosynthesis. The Waxman-Markey bill would have seen more, the most trees ever planted at one time since the Civilian Conservation Corps in the 1930s. So we think about centuries for people to use nature. Congresswoman McCloskey has talked about that a few minutes ago. We would need to begin by repealing the $1.5 trillion of tax breaks that millionaires and billionaires got just 2 years ago. They didn't need it, they didn't deserve it, and then we would take that money and then use it for the kinds of programs that you are talking about, because those technologies are out there. We would also need to fund research at the Department of Energy, at the EPA, at each one of these agencies. so that we created a DARPA-like program, the same one that here in Massachusetts invented the internet, because that was a federal government defense program. So all of these things are going to be absolutely indispensable. And you are right, the science is clear. June was the warmest June ever recorded. July was the warmest month ever recorded in recorded history, July of 2019. So time is of the essence, and each one of these technologies should be put at the starting line. We should have a funding mechanism, and we can do that, but we need to win the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And if we do that, here's what I expect. I expect our president, not backing Elizabeth Warren, but I expect our president on January 20th of 2021, as part of the inaugural address, to then say, here's what I'm instructing the Department of Energy to do by the end of this month, and the Department of Interior, and the EPA, and the Defense Department, and every other agency to now undertake in order to deal with this existential threat. And that would include the research money in order to telescope the time frame it will take in order to solve this problem.
And I know we're under a time constraint here to get to as many questions. I just throw out a pitch for a carbon fee as well. I think that is critical to give that signal to the markets, to use private funding, set that carbon fee. We've done it with our partners in the state and Reggie. We've seen it can be successful, but it has to be done at the national level. And if we do that, we can use the markets, we can use private funding to leverage the kind of innovation and frankly the huge investment it is going to take to create the carbon capture technologies that we're going to need.
And I agree that the Waxman bill was a carbon fee, it was a carbon raise, and that was producing the money that allowed us to do all this research. So thank you. So this has to be our last question, but we are going to stick around.
Margot Roman, Hopkinton, and I want to thank you both so much for doing the projects that you're doing. And a lot of the topics were covered that I want to talk about. One is a veterinarian who, I've been one for 42 years. I am concerned about animal agriculture. Animal agriculture actually causes more pollution in this earth than cars and planes and trains. And people, we've not addressed it in Paris, we have not addressed it in Kyoto, because nobody likes to be told what they can consume by eating animals and not eating animals. The Impossible Burger, Beyond Meat burgers, they're wonderful, and we have to be encouraging our kids to really understand what good health is and how to prevent disease. And by keeping people healthier, by eating more plants and taking care of our planet, by not encouraging animal agriculture. They say that if everybody went plant-based today, and global warming would stop tomorrow, because there's so much CO2, methane, feces, tons of feces, the amount of land that has to be to cut down to put genetically modified corn, soy, and wheat that's damaging our biodiversity of our soil, that's causing dysbiosis in everybody's gut because they're eating Roundup in their gut, and their guts are so dysbiotic. We have to really look at this whole picture as part of what our consumers, as a consumer, what we can do today is not to eat more plants and not be killing animals that don't want to die anyway.
Thank you for bringing it up, and I think that, your point is a good one. We don't want to dictate to people, what they can eat, but it's about education. And it's about reducing your meat diet by 20% can make a huge impact. So I think that we have to continue to get the word out, to have a public understanding, and let people make choices they want to make, but let those be informed choices. And I think that I've often found that it is our children who are teaching us about a healthy planet. But thank you for your work as a scientist and a veterinarian. We appreciate your input. We will stick around. I will be brief in just saying thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this movement. This doesn't happen without you. It also doesn't happen without our incredible state and local leaders who are here. We appreciate your support, your partnership in what you do. It starts in our local neighborhoods, it starts in our choices, and I just want to reemphasize what I said in the beginning. In the chaos of Washington, living in a Twitter world where just today I could barely keep up with our president as I moved from meeting to meeting and what he was tweeting. Your voice does matter, and you have control in this situation. And it starts with us, it starts in talking, it starts in making sure that we protect the vote. Because as we move into 2020, there can't be anything more important, whether it's climate change, gun safety, immigration, pay equity, health insurance, whatever the issue is, that you get that ballot and that you have that free interference from foreign countries and free from gerrymandering and other voter suppression. That you put on the Senate to take up these bills. We have champions like Senator Ed Markey, but we want him to be able to cast a vote, and that is going to take pressure from all of us outside the Beltway, pressure in on those elected leaders who don't want our votes counted and don't want to hold votes on the floor of the Senate. So I am grateful every single day to get to represent Framingham and the communities in Massachusetts 5th District and to be part of the Commonwealth. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your interest and your commitment and passion for this. And a huge thanks to our Senator Ed Markey for his work.
Thank you to Carlton-Foss. Great conversation. Thank you for all of your incredible leadership. And thank all of you for being here. Mayor Spicer, thank you for being such a wonderful host and leader, and all of the other elected officials who are here. So the Green New Deal is not just a resolution, it's a revolution that has been unleashed. Reporters in 2016 forgot to ask Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump a question about climate change. The Green New Deal has solved that problem for 2019 and 2020. Everyone's going to be asked that question on every single forum. The Lawrence Livermore Laboratories are the Supreme Court of climate. The whole world looks at them. And Santa runs that institution. I asked him, how did the scientists at Lawrence Livermore feel now that they're inside of the Trump administration? He told me that fear is rampant amongst those scientists. You can only imagine. I asked him, what was he going to do? And he said that Great Britain had offered him the job at Hadley, which is their Livermore, to move the whole team there. I said to him, what are you going to do? And he said, I told our team, we have to stay and fight. We have to stay and fight. That's where that report came from in November of 2018 from all of those agencies. That's the evidence, the scientific evidence, which we have. So that's who all of you are. You're the descendants of all these revolutionaries. The revolutionaries that created the American Revolution. They created the abolitionist movement. They created the suffragette movement. They created the gay marriage movement. They created the Affordable Care Act movement. That's who you are. You are the latter-day revolutionaries who are going to be responsible for ensuring that Massachusetts is the leader. We're only 2% of America, but we're not an ordinary 2%. So here in Framingham and all across the Commonwealth, it is absolutely imperative that we lead, that we show you can do more, and you must do more, because the science demands it, and the next generation demands that we act. Thank you all.